Hello, my name is Amanda McCartan, and I want to give you a speech about home births. So, over a decade ago, I had my son in a hospital setting. It was a very unpleasant experience for me. So, when I had the opportunity to research where to give birth with my daughter a couple years ago, I heard about home births. I also knew about it from my sister, who has had 2 home births. And after the research, I found that I would rather do that than go back to a hospital. I was considered low risk, so it was a safe option for me. Many mothers are choosing this option, and so what is the fuss about? Well, increased comfort and control in a familiar environment is one of the main reasons women choose to have home births. It's more comfortable to have a birth in their home than go to a hospital, be surrounded by strangers. Sorry. Lower intervention rates in medical procedures. So you're low risk and you're having your baby at home. You're less likely to do more interventions. Interventions can set off a cascade of other interventions that can be fatal to mother or baby. Positive psychological impacts in family involvement. If you're having your baby at home, you can have siblings around. You can have exactly who you want there and who you don't want there. You don't have to deal with doctors, nurses, anyone else except for maybe your midwife, if you choose to have a midwife, or even a doula who assists the midwife. So those reasons are good reasons to consider doing this. Women who choose home birth experience greater comfort and autonomy, contributing to a more positive birthing experience. So an article from Science Direct from Nancy Iris Stone, it states, the interactive relationship between midwives and women is at the core of creating an environment that supports physiological birth while integrating the lived experience of laboring women. So it's an environment that is well supported by other women. And giving birth at home or in a freestanding birth clinic has multiple benefits. It's been shown to result in good outcomes for women and newborns. Women who give birth in these settings report higher levels of satisfaction. Women have reported that they have more control over decision making. They value being in a familiar physical environment. They experience minimal medical intervention. And they benefit from continuity of care. So continuity care is where you have that one midwife that's worked with you since you found out you were pregnant. She's been there every scheduled appointment. She knows you and your family well. And then she comes after the baby's born and continues that care. So you don't get random nurses, random doctors. You don't get anybody random. You get someone that knows you, that's comfortable to be around, and your baby. So, in another article, an Australian article, states that the home environment is uniquely placed to naturally allow birth to unfold at its own pace in its own way. This is from the Birth and Beyond website. So, there's that. The lower rates of medical interventions, I had touched on that earlier. So, medical interventions can entail things like C-sections, epidurals, episiotomies. Those are some good examples of interventions. According to an observational study about planned home births compared to hospital births, intervention and prenatal mortality rates were obtained for 679,952 low-risk women from the Dutch registry. The intervention rate was lower in planned home births compared to planned hospital births because the interventions are not necessary. A lot of times people feel like hospitals will do more interventions than what is needed to even begin with. And the mortality rate was lower in planned home births as well. So that's something to think about. Maybe the Dutch are onto something. So home birthing promotes significant psychological benefits, including reduced anxiety and greater family bonding during the birth process. This is something that has been talked about quite a bit in the home birth community. Someone in particular, Christy, in Australia as well, she mentions that her home birth experience was pure magic. I birthed without fear, something I was really second guessing I was able to do right up until I was actually doing it. And at no point through my labor was I afraid of the next contraction, and at no point did I feel that I could not go on any longer than I wanted, or that I wanted out. So she's a very big advocate. Her testimony is really just another added thing to the benefits and the family involvement. Another Australian study states that previous birth experiences taught the women that hospital care was emotionally unsafe and that there was a possibility of further trauma if they returned to hospital giving birth outside the system, presented the women with what they believed to be an opportunity to experience the best and safest circumstances for themselves and their babies. So these women are feeling it's safer to have the babies at home. Me personally, I agree with this. I think my birthing experience was very safe, very satisfactory. I would do it all over again, as I am planning to, honestly. This concludes my speech. I think that home birth should be something that should be looked into, that should be talked about more. It shouldn't just be hospital births or medical system births, birthing clinics. You know, you should have the option to give birth as you want, where you want, as a woman. It's your body. You should have the right to choose. If you want to give a birth at home with nobody and have a free birth, you should be able to. Thank you for listening.